Hey there, and welcome to Business Over Cocktails. I'm Lauren Najar, your host and hype woman, bringing you real talk about entrepreneurship. This is the podcast where we dive into the bold whys, the messy middles, and the game-changing aha moments that lead to success. You'll hear unfiltered stories from entrepreneurs, plus bite-sized solo episodes inside the Business Chaser series, where we cut through the noise and get straight to what actually drives sales, visibility, and growth. So whether you're here to get fired up or finally feel seen in your business journey, pull up a seat, pour your favorite drink, and let's have a real conversation. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Business Over Cocktails podcast. I am your host, Lauren Najar, and today I have one of my best friends, not just biz besties, but truly like one of my best friends over the last 6 years, Rebecca Richards. She and I met almost 7 years ago now. It's been 6.5 years. And she was literally one of my first clients. She was not my very first client. She was like my third client I've ever had. And so we naturally just built this really great relationship and stayed connected all these years, met in person. And yeah, now I just feel like we hang out all the time. And we, have grown our businesses side by side. We've seen so many different iterations of our businesses. If you've seen my website, she has done the last few iterations of my website. What else? There's just so many things. I don't know. We've been through a lot, I feel like, with our businesses. And like I said, we've also met up in person. But I would love, Rebecca, for you to introduce yourself. But this podcast, I'll just say this podcast again, is going to be another interview style where Rebecca will be interviewing me. Again, she knows me super well. I feel like we talk all the time and she knows so much about me. And for this, it's going to be more based on the personal, where I think that my other interviews that I performed or I've done is how I've built my business and the inner workings of my business. And so this is going to be more so on the personal side of things. So I'm so excited and just want to share that all with you. And I think it's also better for me to not just talk about it and Rebecca can ask questions from her point of view. So Rebecca, introduce yourself and we'll get started.
Yeah, so Rebecca, I run Modern Shift Studio, where I focus on web strategy. Like Lauren said, we've been working together and friends for like almost 7 years. So be on the dig into Lauren's business with her, but also ask her some of the deeper, more personal questions that I feel like she and I have worked through like 10 years together. So I just feel like I have a very different perspective, are really valuable to share with other business owners. So I'm excited to kind of get into all of the things.
Yes. And so I will say it's interesting you bring that up because I want to pause there and just talk about it. It's like you used to be like my mindset coach. Like I utilized you when you were doing that before you kind of completely shifted to web design and creating Modern Shift Studio and doing branding. You did all of this training and certification for NLP, which if people don't know what that is, that's neuro-linguistic programming.
Yeah.
I did it. So if you've never heard of NLP or becoming like master certified in NLP, it's a lot of, I guess, to put it so simply, it's a lot of mindset and brain rewiring and work within the mindset space. And so like we've just worked together for so many different things. But I mean, of course, like have been friends for so long. And she's definitely helped me a lot over the years with my mindset. And she is definitely like the person that I feel like I can just message her immediately when something I say. And I'm just like, okay, like I need to get off my BS. Like tell me what I need to hear right now. Like I need you.
So true.
Yeah. Like, I just need to be a leader. I just need to lead. Like, tell me what I need to do. And like, that was such a turning point for me even recently. But you're the person that I go to when I'm like mad about something or frustrated about something. Like, oh, I just need to do this. Like, please tell me what I need to hear. And you do it. And I think that she has such a unique perspective and she'll have unique questions because she does come from that world and has a lot of like mindset background. So yeah, I'm going to let Rebecca take it now over, and then she can ask me some questions.
Yes. So I also just want to say, like, what I love about this conversation is I also feel like you and your business have come so full circle kind of when it comes to mindset side of things. Because when you first started, you're always so good at business and you always had a very strong mindset when it came to your business. But feel like your approach though was very much focused on the business side of things, the strategy and all of that, less focused on the mindset. And I feel like we've had so many conversations or even like maybe even frustrations with clients of like, I don't know, people just have to want it. They have to go for it. Like, I don't understand why people won't just like do what they got to do type of thing, that type of person. And it's so funny because now, like this many years later, mindset is, I think, just such a bigger part of your business in a more prominent way. Like it was always there because you always had that like positive mindset of your business and encouraging people. Like not that you didn't do that, but just because of all the things that work through over the years, it's become so much more prominent where you're kind of seeing that side of things. And it's so funny and just be like, okay, I know that this is a mindset issue. That would always be what I would reflect back to you, right? When you come to me with like a frustration and I'd be like, okay, well, what is your mindset around this? Like, what do we need to work through? What are you actually afraid of? And we'd have like those deeper conversations. And it's just so funny because now all the time you like will bring that up to me before I can even reflect it back to you.
You've trained me well.
Yes. So what I wanted to dig into first is thinking about when you very first started your business and what was really going on behind the scenes that really finally pushed you over the edge to like take that leap and to finally start your business and be like, yes, I can do this.
So I'm going to go back to where I hired my first business coach, and I was wanting to start my own social media management business. I was already kind of doing it and starting it on my own. But there was this realization I had that the way I envisioned building my business was not how I envisioned it like now. And I say this all the time, like I've definitely come full circle, right? Like I've come full circle. I have my agency now. We do social media management, but I have more authority and I have way more knowledge, where before I was thinking I was just going to be someone's assistant to like post and do all these things, and like I would still be working for somebody else. And so I remember having that conversation with my coach at the time. And by the end of the 3 months that I was with her, I completely pivoted and like, no, I'm going to do business coaching now. And it became the easiest thing, the easiest transition. And it felt so good. And it just came from a lack of belief in myself. Like, oh, I'm not ready. I'm brand new. I don't know that much yet. And I think it just also too, like the problem was I didn't want to work for anybody else. Like I just wanted the freedom to do what I wanted. And yes, now I'm doing that work. But again, I have more of the authority and the knowledge and the setup and the boundary that I have implemented over the years and has made me a stronger business owner, where yes, I'm doing a service for somebody else and listening to their feedback, of course, but I'm not in a position where I'm just like a yes person. And that's where I was coming from when I started my business. So I think it was just like, it was like I needed permission and I needed someone to just like give me that boost. I had just become aware of business coaching. Like I didn't know that existed. And I figured that out through me figuring out like social media management, like just coming into this world. And I literally stumbled upon it. And I was like, someone gets paid $30,000 to be someone's business coach per year. That is insane to me. Now that's not insane because that's like what, $2,500 a month? Like, and I feel like that's normal. It's not normal, but it's a little bit on the higher end, but it's like, that's what consultants get paid all the time, or probably even more.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like, that was the shift. And that's kind of what I went through is I started thinking that I wasn't capable of becoming a business coach. And so like through my mind, I didn't have that belief in myself, which full well, I still struggle with that. I definitely still struggle with self-trust and self-belief, but I think I am and have been working on it so much harder this last year. So
Definitely.
I definitely was struggling with that.
I feel like that's just the perfect example to really show that we all really struggle with that. We all really struggle with fully believing in ourselves, having the confidence to do these things. And it's so interesting to me. I mean, I know we've had so many conversations around this over the years, but it's interesting to me as someone who was one of your very first clients to hear that reflection of you being like, okay, well, before I made this transition into business coaching and was working with this other coach, that's what like I was working on is that I just felt like, I don't know, maybe I'm not good enough to do that, had this all this self-doubt. And then you made that transition, obviously had a lot of success right away. And it's so funny to me hearing you talk about that because when I hired you, that was one of the big reasons that I wanted to work with you was because of like again, we kind of talked about it earlier too, that you've always had this positive mindset that like you can do this. You're so encouraging to all of your clients and to everyone that like if you want this, if you want this business, you can do this. You just need to have this level of confidence. And so you're so good at instilling that in other people and helping other people find that in themselves. And so it's just interesting to kind of hear that reflection that that was something that you also really struggled with at the beginning. Because I think sometimes we think, oh, if anyone is out here and they're saying those things and doing these things, like it must just be easy for them. Like this confidence just comes naturally to them. And it's like, no, this is something that, you've had to really work on and something that, continues to pop up, I think, anytime you're doing something new. And so I just love hearing you talk about that. And I'm curious, and I know this is something that we have talked about a lot in your journey. And what were some of those struggles, especially in the first year of building your business and kind of behind the scenes? Because I know that you had a lot of success, like right out of the gate, and didn't necessarily continue to grow maybe as quickly right at the beginning as you wanted to. And so, what were kind of some of the feelings or things that you had to work through that first year before you really started to build that momentum even stronger?
I think it was, again, maybe a lack of experience. I don't want to say maybe a lack of knowledge, but a lack of experience and just assuming it was going to forever be that easy. And I think also getting too far ahead of myself. And then like the shiny object syndrome, right? We hear a lot about that, about like we have like the shiny object syndrome where we think that we need all of these things to scale our businesses and we listen to everyone else's advice versus like doing a gut check for ourselves. And so I feel like if I could explain anything, I definitely lost myself. And I think that that's what attributed to like misalignment, definitely burnout, frustration. And I think that's when truly like at some point in there, like you left your day job. And this is like early 2019, right? Like we had been coaching. I think we coached together for 6 months. And then me and you still were close. And like we had this friendship. We still talked all the time. But we ended up launching a membership together, you and I. Remember?
Yes. Well, I did. I did. I was just trying to figure out, okay, what year was this? When did we do this? That was that year.
It was that year because like everything basically after that was the pandemic. So it was definitely not the pandemic. And so here's my thing is like, so we launched that membership and that was all I could truly like take on. And our membership wasn't that big. We had, I think, 4 or 5 members at the most. And it was a very low cost membership. It was $25 a month. But it was such a good group. And like, it was so cool to like meet up with those people. Remember how we met up with those people? I say
Yes,
those
I love
people.
that.
It was, if Angie is listening, Angie, Jamaica was in it, Sharuk was in it. I'm not sure who's going to listen. Maybe Angie is still going to listen, probably because I still talk to her from time to time. But we just had a bunch of people in that group. And it was such a nice group. And we had so many good conversations with just like 4 of us. And I remember doing those in my Chicago apartment. Anyways, RIP, I miss that. I miss that apartment. I miss living in Chicago. But anyways, let's move on.
That could be a whole other tangent.
It
Let's
could.
talk about Chicago.
Oh
I'll save
God.
that.
So I think like all I could really like take on, and that wasn't from like a time standpoint, it was just like from a probably a nervous system standpoint. I just completely like just burnt out. I'm just like, I don't even know what I'm doing anymore. Like, I don't know how to get back to where I needed to be. Like, I had all the success, like, and now it's hard. Maybe I'm not cut out for this. And so, like, us doing the membership still kept me kind of like in the game. Like, and I don't think I ever wanted to quit and not do it. I definitely would barely work. Like if I think about like I definitely was treating it as a hobby again, but I needed to do that because I was like so in it and I was working on it so much and I was doing way more work than I probably needed to, and I got zero results from all of that work that I did. And I learned a big lesson there. And so I think like that first full year, because I made like, $5,000 in my first month as a business coach. I'm like, oh my gosh, so easy. Like this is the most I've made in like a side hustle out of all the side hustles I ever made. Like 5,000. I remember telling my sister I made 5,000 and she was like, what? Like thinking I was probably going to say like $500 or something. I said, yeah, no, I made 5,000 in the last couple of months. And she's like, what? Like, that's crazy. But then like after all of that, like I think I made a couple more thousand and then like I just feel like I crashed and burned. That's how I would kind of like categorize that. So that first year was definitely a lot of lessons and a lot of learning. And I'm pretty proud of myself though that I just didn't keep like diving back in. I like went so slowly because I was so worried to lose myself again.
Yeah. I also think it's fair to point out that like when that all happened and we had the membership and stuff, but things were still kind of going slow was right at the start of the pandemic. And so like that was another added just a whole other layer mentally, I think, to like it's just a lot, it was a lot to manage. I think sometimes we kind of gloss over that these days because it's like, oh, it's been however many years now since that we kind of forget what it was like. But that was just a whole other layer. And I also think important to kind of say here as well is how for all of this time or at that time, you still had your day job as well. So it wasn't like you had all the time in the world to focus on your business. You had your full time job, which obviously was a whole, like that was a whole other thing again, mentally to balance all these things. And just the fact that you were able to work through that and not let that stop you though from your business. Like you never truly gave up on your business. You always came back to it and continued trying to figure out what to do. And I think that's such a huge lesson for everyone in just the persistence that you need to have, right? Because I think a lot of us are so quick to be like, this didn't work for like a week or a month or even a couple months. And like sometimes it can just take longer to get off the ground or to see the progress that we want to see. So, what do you feel like you kept coming back to that really motivated you when you were kind of getting into that burnout, kind of questioning if you should give up or if you should keep going? And what kind of thought really motivated you?
I will say, I don't think I ever truly was going to take like giving up as a reality because I don't feel like that was ever anything that went through my brain. Because obviously, I still did the membership with you. I did little things here and there. I was so consistent in my Facebook group. Like, do you remember my Facebook group? I was so
Yeah,
consistent in that. And every
you
Thursday
really
for
were.
years, I would do a live training at like 4 p.m. every Thursday. Well, and I take that back because I have my 9 to 5. So it was during maybe 2020 when I started doing it because I changed day jobs. But I was so consistent with providing value in my Facebook group. And I think it changed into, oh, how much money can I make? Into like, no, I really enjoy doing this. And I get really fired up when other people have results. And I think it took me a while to also understand that because I remember like when me and you were talking, and it was one of our last like official coaching calls that we had. You told me you left your job. And I think I have that somewhere. Like, I think I recently shared the picture with you where we were both crying and you're like, I left my
Yeah.
job. Like, and I like that, like, honestly, like the wins oh, man, I'm gonna share an emotional thing right now because I think I just came to a realization of this. You, out of like all the clients I had, probably like out of the gate, like you definitely obviously had the most success. And like I don't keep in touch with anyone else that I had at that point. I could be forgetting someone and they're going to be listening to this and like they're going to be like, you forgot about me. But no, I really like I can't think of like the people that I'm thinking of. I don't know if they still have businesses or not. Like we just didn't keep in touch, but you definitely had success, right? Like you signed clients, like you were showing up, you really wanted to work. And so like that was so helpful for me to keep going. And just like then I had other people kind of even just from the free stuff I was providing my Facebook group, they would share with me that they had results from the things that I shared. And so like that started to outweigh like signing clients and making money. Like, yes, everyone wants to make money. And I say this all the time. Like, I love that adrenaline rush when someone like, we make money and we do this and we do that and we have the success in our own businesses. But I love that I could see someone else and see their business. And it just lights me up that I'm able to help them. So that's what kept me going through that.
I love that so much. And I just want to say, like, what that makes me think of and what makes you such a good coach is that you're not just focused on, first of all, your own results and how much money am I making and basing everything on your own results. Like you're truly focused on supporting your clients. I know that's what you did for me at the time, like when we were working together, but just as friends too. It's like you're truly there for your clients and for your other business friends and celebrating their wins. But no, here's what I want to what I want to say because this is literally like what we put on your website is that you I feel just naturally have this perspective that when you're seeing other people have all these successes, you don't take it to heart in the way that's like, why are these people having success and I'm not? You take all that in and you're like, cool, someone else is doing it. Why not me? I can do that too. Like, why couldn't I? There's no reason. And it instead of making you, I mean, yes, we all have self doubt. We were talking about that. But at the same time, you're able to translate that into, well, if they're doing it, I can do it too. And that's something that you've always said, like through your whole business. We've had that like on every version of your website that we've created. We've like had that somewhere on your site. And I just feel like that's so powerful and something that even before you were like into mindset and talking about mindset, like you always had that mindset. It was always there. And I just love that so much. I think that's just part of what makes you an amazing friend and also an amazing coach and why your business is having so much success now.
Man, thank you.
You're
That was
welcome.
nice.
Don't cry. And I think like what has always been so motivating, and this will lead into a question, I promise, but something that is so motivating to me just about the way that you have run your business is for a long time, probably I think longer than people probably think, you had your day job. Like you always had this 9 to 5. And so you were running full for I think longer than probably people thought because of how successful your business has been. And so I wanted to, and this is kind of maybe getting a little bit more businessy, but a little bit personal too, kind of how you balance both those things and like how did that help you with your business success now? Because for so long you've had to really balance both of these things, which is like a whole other skill set, I feel like, in learning how to grow your business.
Yeah. I have a new perspective, and I think I might want to change my answer to any of the other answers that I've said over the years because I now have a child. And for the first, when was she born? 2023. So for about 4.5 years, I ran my business not being a mom. And I was pregnant like only once, right? Like just those one time. And I remember like even just during pregnancy, like I remember I would have to work from bed and just do like I was tired. Was not at the energy level that I'm at now or was before. But okay, so I guess I actually just did a post on my Instagram feed not too long ago. And so at the time of this recording, I did it last week and I shared it. And it was about time management and how over the years, I've had a lot of compliments on that. I've had a lot of compliments on time management, on boundaries, and that does come from the days where people did know that I had a 9 to 5. Because I also, what maybe people don't realize either, is I actually started my agency also, agency, business coaching, and my 9 to 5. And I ran that all together for a year before I left my 9 to 5. So I will say, like, I remember telling you too that, like, again, just one of our million conversations, like, I wanted to leave the job I was at when I started my business. And I wanted to just like tell them to F off. Like, I was just so done with that place.
Yes.
It was so toxic and my schedule was just all over the place. I would have random days off during the week, which helped because I was able to take calls on those days. But very early on, one of my mentors that I worked with multiple times, she had a 9 to 5 as well. And she gave me what was called like a CEO schedule. And so I learned very early on to do batch days. So what that looks like is I wouldn't do calls 5 days a week, like message or do anything. I would batch content on Mondays and I would like free up so much time. Over the years, for sure, and experience, I've definitely gotten better at that. But I will say, so the reason why I'm going to change my answer is if I had a 9 to 5 right now, managing 2 businesses and now being a mom, I would never grow the business as fast as I did. Because if I look at my current schedule, I would work after work for the most part. So like before I would like, my hours were all over the place and I commuted. So like I would sometimes get home and it would take me an hour and a half to get home. And I will say, like, Darren was traveling too. So my husband at the time of when I was building my business, he is still my husband. He would travel all the time. So like obligations, like I didn't have a lot of obligations, but we had a dog and I would have to walk her and let her out. And of course, like clean the house, cook for myself, take care of myself, work out. And it was just always so inconsistent with my work hours. So there were times I was taking calls at 6 to 8 p.m. at night, and like that was fine for people. There were times where I did work on Saturdays, but I really didn't like doing that. There were times where I would work in the morning or on my lunch breaks. But if I were to like think of that now, like at 5 o'clock, I have to go be mom until 7:30, 8 o'clock at night when she goes to bed. And now, even now, I'm working, from 8 to 10 some nights if I have to do some stuff, if I do stuff during the day. So I don't know. I definitely know that I get a lot of credit for time management. I do know that I do that better than some people. And so I try to be as open as I can. But I think like the biggest thing is just like you have to have those boundaries, batch days, and then you have to find what works for you. I think the other thing that I would say is like, I always would talk bad to myself about like, oh, you shouldn't work after 10 p.m. or you need a good night's sleep or you shouldn't be working weekends or all this stuff. And like, I would listen to those thoughts, not only for myself, but like from other people. And I thought I was doing something wrong. Now I work all the time. Like I work all the time, but I'm not burned out by it. Like I like what I do. I love what I do. And I think like if I were to go back to that, like I was where I was 4 or 5 years ago, that was a lot because I was so burnt out by my day job though. And so I think that affected, how I was building my business as well. So yeah, it was hard. It was not for the weak for sure. And especially if you have kids, it's 10 times more difficult, but you can make progress and you can do it. And you just have to find pockets in your time. And it takes a lot of sacrifice, truly. Like all this week, I've been solo parenting. Darren's been gone. My daughter's been sick. So it's been an interesting week. And I've been working from 8 to like 8:30 to 10:30, 11 o'clock every night because I'm not getting the things done that I want to get done. And then I get up at 5:30 and then I try and do as much work as I can before she gets up. So that's how I do it. It's not perfect, right? It used to be able to be a little bit more perfect and refined, but as a mom, it's not perfect anymore.
I feel like we've definitely have had conversations around this before and just have come to each other in different seasons of our life with different things going on and talking about our struggles with, scheduling and all the things we want to do. And sometimes, feeling like we don't have time. And I feel like something that we always have talked about around that too is like, again, like you said, finding what works for you and also, being flexible in those different seasons of your life. Like what works for you today might not work a year from now or a month from now, depending what's going on in your life. And I just think that that's really important. I think what's also really interesting, just kind of reflecting back and thinking about that time when you did have so many things going on. I think there was also this has always been a thing, but I think especially at that time, so much more talk like hustle culture kind of mindset of like if you're not seeing the success you want, you're just not working hard enough. Like you just need to do more and more and more. And I think that was part of maybe your struggles at the time too, of trying to balance like, well, I'm already working so hard at my day job. I'm tired. And also now I'm trying to work in all of my off hours off my 9 to 5 and trying to like spend all that time building the business. And I like the way that you said if you were like had to do that all over again today, that you wouldn't grow the business as fast. Because I think still when we have our businesses these days, it's like we want to see that fast growth. People are still talking about, quick wins and, growing as fast as possible. We kind of still see this type of messaging. And I just think it's so important. And also, to be fair, you do still grow fast. Your clients do still see really quick wins and all these things, but it's not necessarily because they're doing more or pushing harder. And I think that's like such an important part to share. And I think has definitely been something that you've seen in your own business too, where like growing your business doesn't necessarily mean like doing more.
No,
Does that
yeah,
resonate?
it totally does. And I think like, again, the schedule that I used to have about like batching and I still have elements of that as well, like where I don't send crazy amounts of messages a day. I will do certain things or even just like when it comes to checking emails, I'm not going to live in my email box. I'm not going to check DMs every day. I'm not going to live on social media because there's other things that you need to be doing. But also like you have to be aware of your capacity and there's a fine line between like just doing more and more and more or doing what you have to do, but you have to be physically ready to handle that capacity. So there's a difference. And that's something I realized too in the last year, especially because I hold a lot, I take on a lot. And there would be no rhyme or reason for me to or be able to do what I do if I wasn't actually then simplifying things. So I would say like simplification and not, again, chasing shiny objects, but also taking care of yourself. And I think like that is such a huge thing that a lot of entrepreneurs forget. And I feel like anxiety started happening when I started my business. Like I don't think I ever really experienced anxiety as much as I do as a business owner. But that came from so much stress of having a day job and building a business. Then that came from just being constantly unhappy and stressed out at my day job. Then that also came from like, am I doing enough? Can I push through? Or maybe like the large investments I
All
would
these
do
layers.
in mentorships. Yeah. So I know that I used to not take care of myself. And like when I was making my most, if I look back, and I think, again, we've probably talked about this too, but when I was looking back at like my highest months that I've ever made in my business, like with the exception of this past year. So if I were to look at like I had really good months in like 2020 and I had so many clients and I was making, I hit like my first 10K month, 11K month, 12K month. And I was like so stressed out and eating Uber Eats every day. Like Uber Eats, I would have my phone next to me and Uber Eats would send me a notification at the same time every day. Like, you hungry? Like, so like I was, of course, like burning the candle at both ends.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Okay. So let's just wrap up with like something that you want to share with people or a way that you want to encourage people. Like if they're kind of stuck in that messy middle right now in their business, maybe they feel like it's not growing as fast as they want it to grow. They're not really sure what to focus on. We've talked a lot about like shiny object syndrome and how easy it is to get distracted by things. What is just like one final thought or encouragement that you want to share with people?
Ooh, put your blinders on. Stop looking at everyone else and comparing yourself to everybody else. Because what you see on social media or in the digital marketing space and actually what you hear from people, it's probably all BS. It's marketing. Marketing isn't supposed to be super transparent, right? Like marketing is supposed to be sexy and fancy. So, while I do like transparency and I am very real, like, of course, like it's not that you're lying about your results, but there are people who lie about their results. But like when you see something that's like, oh, I just doubled, I had this conversation with a client yesterday, actually. You might see something in the online space that's like, I just doubled my annual revenue from one year to another. And like, what if they made $1 last year and now they're making $2? Like, but you're taking the wording as, oh my God, I doubled my income. Great. That number and that statistic is wonderful. Your business grew, your business doubled in 2 years. That's wonderful. But $1, $2, like it's smoke and mirrors a lot of times. So you truly have to focus on your own self at the end of the day. It doesn't matter if you have trusted advisors or mentors, still put all of that through your own filter. And I tell my clients that too. It's like what I say, I'm going to tell you what I say, but what I say is not like Bible. You have to put it through your own filter and feel into that too.
Yeah, that's so important.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for interviewing me.
Of course, we definitely need to do this again.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Business Over Cocktails, where real stories and bold business moves come to life. If this episode lit something up in you, share it with a friend, tag me at Lauren Najar or the podcast page at Business Over Cocktails. Make sure to leave a quick review as well. It helps more than you know. Until next time, keep chasing what matters and building the business that feels like you. Cheers.